The longer I watch this show, the higher the chance it is that I'm going to become a misandrist because all these men, when I tell you every single one of them is getting on my last nerve. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Blue Therapy episodes 4 to 6. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, hype up the video, and leave a comment down below. So I did lie, we do have one more new couple. We have Carmen and Junior. They have been together for 20 years and they have 3 children together. He is a DJ and sometimes gets preoccupied with his career over his relationship. However, the real reason why they're here is because they have communication issues. Junior feels like Carmen does not listen to him, and Carmen feels that Junior doesn't take him seriously.
Are you always bickering?
Whether bickering or not talking. Sometimes she just likes arguing with me. Haha, you're wrong. you know?
No, like, I'm not perfect. Snap sometimes, don't I?
I'm glad you can admit that.
I'm happy to admit he just doesn't understand me.
They claim that the reason why they broke up 5 years ago, they were separated for 2 years, was because she wanted to have another child. He was not keen on having a child. So they separated for 2 years. But in that separation, listen, they married, so I get it. It's a little bit messy. In that separation, they had a child. So they came back together. And this is why these divorced people, they be like, y'all could be separated for a while, then we'll revisit this divorce conversation because y'all just be upset with each other. But do y'all really want to separate? I don't know. So in their separation, they ended up conceiving. And unfortunately, when they got back together, they never addressed what were their issues to break the relationship up in the first place. And now 5 years later, they're in the exact same place. Feels to me like a part of Carmen wanted the baby as a form of reconciliation. That's not a new thing. So I'm not even trying to make it seem like she's this evil woman. Like, it happens all the time. People think a baby's going to fix the relationship. No, not necessarily. It can, but it should not hinge on a baby who ain't got nothing to do with what y'all got going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, they did come back together, but nothing was addressed. So here we are in the exact same rut. Junior is still holding on to some pain because when they initially filed for divorce, she issued him the papers on his birthday. Now, Carmen, come on now. How is this girl gonna be like, oh, I didn't realize that he was still holding on to that? Like, is it really that deep? Yeah. You could have chose any day and you chose the day that he's actively trying to celebrate his life. Like, girl, come on. So he was saying he felt the way because he's a family man and he loves being a dad. Interesting how he loved being a dad, but like he had a cap. Like, okay, 2 I can do, but 3, woo, we're pushing it. And I understand. People do say 2 to 3 is a big jump. At least that's what my friends say. They said 2 was fine, but once they got to 3, it became hectic. Junior says he comes from a household where divorce is a non-negotiable, and that could go one of 2 ways. You could choose the healthy way and say, you know what, we're not going to let external factors ruin our marriage. We're going to constantly be looking out for each other. We're going to work on the things that we have issues with. We're going to make sure we're taking the steps to create a healthy marriage. The negative side would be, I can treat you any which way, and I don't give a damn because you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So now we get stuck in a toxic cycle. Come to find out, this man was entertaining flirty messages in his DMs, and Carmen found out about that. So you tell me which version of the perspective he's taking. Is it the positive or the negative? Because what about entertaining flirty messages is helping the health of your marriage? I feel like he's taken advantage of this girl's love. I feel like he really thinks that she's not going to leave him no matter what. And it kind of proves that because even in their separation, they obviously were still interacting with each other. So it's like, oh, we've already been at the quote unquote worst state in our marriage, and she still stayed. In their next session, they both admit to not feeling appreciated in their marriage, which I can understand. Then Carmen says, I don't like the fact that he lies about his whereabouts, and when he is out and about, he is unresponsive. Why is this man gonna say, oh, you should just get over the trust issues? If you want me to stop having trust issues, give me reasons to trust you. You're lying about where you're going. when you're out, you're unresponsive. How am I just supposed to let that go? So then as she's expressing how she feels, here he is saying, look, you're accusing me. And Karen is like, hold on. She's not accusing you. She's actually never accused you of anything. She's saying how this makes her feel. If you were simply expressing your feelings and I had nothing like to hide, I would be like, damn, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Like, what can I do to make sure that those feelings subside? But no, immediately, you're calling me out. Is there something to call out? Should I be calling you out? Well, let me know. Share with the class. So the lying does not stop there. And I'm aware that this is a sticky one. And I think he did this deliberately, right? So a few months ago, Junior went to get a vasectomy. Did not tell Carmen about it. And she's finding out on TV. So what's interesting about this is he says, well, it's my body. It's my choice. And that verbiage is so deliberate because that's what we say towards women all the time. So who are we to now say to him, well, no, you have to consult your partner before making such a decision, because it's true. It is your body. It is your choice. The problem I have with him doing this is the fact that they spoke about having another kid. They spoke about having a fourth child, but they never came to a conclusion. So he took that possibility away and just, went and got the vasectomy because he was being shady in doing it. That's a problem. And if you're getting married and you've spoken about things like having kids and stuff, then I do feel like that's a joint decision. If she turned around and got her tubes tied without your knowledge, would that not be an issue? Yes, her body, her choice, but you would hope that it would be a conversation at the very least. And then the final decision is up to her. I think the final decision is up to him, but missing out on that conversation, knowing the conversation about another kid was still open, is crazy to me. Next, we have Dami and Jermaine. So Jermaine has made it very clear that he feels like all the attention was on Dami last time and his feelings weren't ever acknowledged. Mind you, same guy who felt like being vulnerable is a sign of weakness and he's not comfortable sharing his emotions. But now you're upset that the person who was sharing their emotions had their emotions prioritized. Well, they put them on the table. Yours were in the box. Take them out and maybe we can address them. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, he's then going to say, yeah, I kind of felt like a tag team. Not once did these women gang up on him. Not once. He also was like, because Karen made a good point. She's like, is it the fact that it's two women in a room and you're the only man? And he's like, yeah. And then she said, does it also not help the fact that I'm a white woman and I'm a white older woman? Like maybe there's just things about me that you just simply won't relate to. So because he's the odd man out in the room, he immediately perceived that as, oh, well, everybody's against me. I'm the enemy. You're attacking me, whatever. Something about an insecure man will always attribute accountability as an attack. Without a doubt, that is always the case. And it's so frustrating because not once was this man attacked for whatever's going on in their relationship. Not once. But because it was a woman relating to another woman who's talking about feeling neglected in her marriage, he's like, oh, gang up, attacking me. So then he's talking about how hard it is to be a black man in a white dominated space. And I'm like, let me teach you something about intersectionality. She's also a black person in a dominantly white space. And on top of that, she's a woman who has to be the backbone of her home on her own, who had to give up her lifestyle to maintain your lifestyle. You are her partner and you're not showing up as one. She has to carry the brunt of the relationship. She has to carry the brunt of the parenting and whatever else might be happening familially. We don't know. She's given up on dreams, aspirations. She's given her body so that you can achieve whatever you're achieving. However, you are diminishing what she's going through in order to highlight what you're going through. Because yes, I'm sure the plight is big for him. Absolutely. Being a black man in the UK must not be easy. Probably in the space that he's in work-wise, probably not easy. Being a black woman in that same space? Okay. Yeah. But because this man doesn't value his wife, are they married? I think they're married. because he doesn't value his wife, it's like he doesn't see her. He doesn't see the sacrifices she's made for them to get to this point. He doesn't see that she has lost her light. She's lost her spark, right? And here she is just trying to get a piece of that back. And he's like, but no. You stay at home. You hold down the fort so I can be, big dog. I can be that guy. He doesn't even realize that without her, or maybe he does realize that without her, he likely wouldn't be able to be in that position. That's my opinion. Maybe that's biased. I'll take it. Maybe I'm being biased. Maybe I'm projecting. But I don't think he'd be where he's at if not for that girl. At least acknowledge the work that she's putting in to help you become the man that you are. Jermaine says he's gotten to the point where he feels like he can't be honest with Dami. He just can't share his feelings because she's often on the defense, right? On this topic of transparency, this man has a work wife. The concept alone pisses me off. But he has no problem being like, yeah, I have flirty banter with her. It's not a big deal.
Oh, flantering.
I knew this was gonna come up.
She's like so excited to talk to him.
It's not sleazy. She works well, she makes great coffee. She's amazing.
He did.
She looked beautiful this morning.
Not amazing.
You couldn't understand how she felt like she was living in the shadows with, having to give up so much of herself to make this family work. And I'm not trying to demonize him to say that he put her in that situation. Naturally, as a woman in a heterosexual relationship, a lot of that stuff is gonna fall on you. And it's even more painful when you're with a partner who doesn't acknowledge that. I'm going to feel like an imposter in my own body for the sake of us having a family. The least you could do is be present with me. That's the least you could do. But he can't even do that. So on top of that, I'm asking for affection. And instead of giving it to me, you want to give it to somebody else. And then you want to give me all the scraps. I just get whatever's left, which is most likely a grouchy person because all your coworkers, all your business partners, all your clients, they got the good time, the fun time. And I get whatever's left. And the fact that he doesn't see that actually pains me on Dami's behalf. It really does. Karen says something that I said similar, and I said, okay, that psych degree is still working in me, okay? She was like, I think that you guys needed to have a conversation to renegotiate the terms of this arrangement because they did initially speak about the 2 years, but it was never on the table to negotiate what would happen if the 2-year plan is no longer working. So she's ready to go back to work. He's not ready because he wants a baby girl. The baby girl situation is true. Ooh, I just got chills. I feel so bad for them. The baby girl situation is tricky because she was once pregnant with a girl. However, because they both carry a sickle cell gene, the baby had sickle cell and unfortunately they lost the baby. So she feels like he was able to thrust himself back into work while she was grieving on her own. Can you imagine through all this conversation, this man is like, I feel like what you're asking from me is just to have some quality time. I feel like you just want us to be together more. If he actually valued his wife and he actually listened to the things that she was trying to say, he would have come to this conclusion a long time ago. They started off by her saying that the first time we met them. She was asking for more quality time. She never asked him to give up on his job. She never asked him to take up all the responsibilities that she's taking. She just wants to spend time with her husband. She literally said, you can go to the Usher concert. I just want to come too. It's not that hard to understand. It's really not that hard. So she's struggling to want to have a child again because they both spoke about not wanting to bring a child into the world who does have sickle cell anemia. By the way, I'm not judging them for their decision. Who's to say that the child is going to be adversely affected? So it's worth a try. I understand that it's difficult, but I wish that he was just there with her more, both physically and emotionally. He's just not present enough. Even when they, because they were tasked to go on a date, right? They went to a vineyard. He turned off his phone. They were able to spend intentional time together. And she was like, this is the first time in a long time where I've even had the desire to be intimate with him. There were even times where he would visit her in her room way more often. And they're finally getting that spark back because you're making time for her, because you're being intentional with her. Even with the grief of their baby, She feels like he never wants to talk about it. And so she just has to deal with that on her own. And he's also not acknowledging the magnitude of being the carrier of that. Transparently, I be sprinkling it here and there because I don't like talking about it too much. But I had a miscarriage in January. And the guilt that you carry, even though I know I didn't do anything to lose that baby, that guilt is so deep. I thank God that Richmond is the type of person who's like, we're going to address these feelings. So we cried together. We sure did. But like having lost the baby in the way that they did, her wanting to go back to her life and him being like, no, let's try for another baby. So now I have to grieve 2 things, 3 things: the baby I lost, the life that I lost, and potentially this other baby if in fact the same thing happens again. And he don't see that. Man. But anyways, they decided that they are going to have a conversation to see if they can negotiate what the future is going to be regarding her lifestyle, if she's going to go back to work or maybe just do 1 more year or whatever. And then Karen says, can you also table the conversation about having another child until Dammy is fully recovered? Which, thank you, Karen. Next is Viktor and Maria. And my friend sent me a TikTok that said these 2 are 23 and 27. And they've been together for 7 years. Call the police. Immediately. Yeah. We could just stop there. That's the biggest issue. But anyways, this man, Viktor, feels like he's not appreciated enough. He's not respected enough. He shouldn't be forced to do these cultural practices that he doesn't believe in.
No one's looking in this situation through my lenses.
Everything would change if you were to get married.
Until she steps up for this relationship.
Unmarried.
Yeah, I'm there, I'm around, and I'm just her boyfriend. I don't feel seen. I want to feel respected.
Viktor says that nobody's taken the time to see things from his perspective, and by the nobody, he means Maria's family. Respectfully, you're just a boyfriend. And I'm not taking away the boyfriend era. Girlfriend and boyfriend are the building blocks for marriage, if in fact marriage is your goal. For some people, it's not. But if it is, those years are important, if it does take years. But we're 7 years in. You're still just a boyfriend. She obviously wants more. Not enough to want to leave this man, but clearly it's a point of contention in their relationship. The family has expressed that they want more. He refuses to do so. And he's confused why he's not respected by the family. Interesting. He's then going to say, no, actually, Viktor is going to say, I don't appreciate how the family makes me like prostrate as a sign of respect. I don't like the fact that I have to automatically respect them because they are older than me. I feel we are all equal. If it is so against your conviction, let me say, to do these cultural things for a cultural girl who comes from a cultural family, maybe get somebody who isn't cultured in a way that combats your own culture or your own convictions. God forbid somebody comes into my house and they're going to say, I'm going to keep my shoes on because that's just what I do. In my house? Get out of my house. Go to your house. Maria's family is not seeking him out. He is seeking them out. If they were coming into his territory, though I still would find an issue with that as an African girl myself, I can understand him asserting dominance to be like, no, in my space, things are handled in ABC such a way. You're seeking out their approval. You're seeking out their respect. Get in line. I'm going to bring up my husband again. Sorry. Love that man. When he came to Zimbabwe to meet my family, my mama said, hey, let me tell you about some rules of engagement, okay? Them earrings, because he has these big, gaudy studs, they got to come out. The shirts he be wearing sometimes, he got to wear a dress shirt, he got to wear long pants, at least preliminarily. Until they get to know him, like that's just what you do as a sign of respect when you go to Zimbabwe. You show up almost like business casual, right? Guess what he did? Took out them earrings, wore a dress shirt, wore some dress pants. About like the third day, he was able to go back to his graphic tees and shorts, but he kept off the earrings because he knew it was important to me for my family to respect him. It was important for him for my family to respect him. He knew that those were the rules of engagement, to be with somebody like me. So if he didn't want to do that, go to somebody else. If Viktor doesn't want to do that, go to somebody else. Then this man is going to open up about the fact that he comes from a broken home and he just always felt lonely, even though he does have a sibling and stuff. Respectfully, sort that out. Sort that out. You cannot come here and try to assert dominance in your relationship because you feel like you can't experience that elsewhere. That's not my problem. Figure that out. No, I'm actually very passionate about this because no matter what space I've been in, whether it's church, school, work, whatever, the most insufferable people were people who felt like they did not have power at home, and so they would try to impose that power in these other spaces. That has nothing to do with us. If you feel powerless at home, sort that out at home before you start projecting to us. Next is Mike and Yasmin. Oh, guys. Mike says he's tired of being treated like a child because his spending is now being managed. Maybe if you act like a responsible adult, you wouldn't have to be treated like a child. Anyways, they are tasked to write about the things that they're afraid to tell each other. And when they came back to the session, that's what they're going to express. When I tell you the insecurity is jumping out of this here Mike.
I regret not telling Yaz the whole truth, but there's a part of me that wants her to just give me some sort of grace.
Part of getting her trust really is hearing her in this session and just hearing her exhaustion.
I do not feel as though my intimacy and affection needs are being met. You would never know what it feels like to be me.
If my time was freed up, then I might be more receptive to like having a cuddle. I need you to be consistent with your support around day-to-day life.
I'm using most of my mental capacity to try and find a new job.
I know damn well this man did not say he can't contribute to the household because he's too preoccupied with finding a job. That's just taking too much energy. So you can't help around the house. So because he's not helping around the house, Yasmin has to do all the work or a lot of the work, because it seems like sporadically he does come in and do a little something, but he does it as a means to an end. Anyways, more on that later. So she has to carry this household on her back. Mind you, a full-time working teacher. Yeah? Okay, remember that. So he feels like Yasmin nags him too much. She's always like, oh, do this, clean that, fix the bed, put the kids to bed, clean the kids, do all the, cook the food, do whatever. Like, she's nagging me way too much. Like, I just want to come home and we have some time to be intimate with each other. Like, why do I always have to be nagged to do these household things? Guys, I'm going to become a misandrist. I know it. Like, maybe if you helped around the house, it would free up time to be intimate. It would free up some mental real estate, because while you're trying to woo her, she doesn't have to worry about the dirty dishes in the I was going to say the dirty dishes in the laundry. But literally, that's how your mind works when you're thinking about all these other things. Like, I can't think straight until I sort out my house. And clearly, you're not going to do it, so I have to. And I have to do it at my earliest convenience, which is right now. Right now. Yeah, you're trying to have sexy time. I can't. There are dirty dishes in the laundry. Like, hello? What do you mean? Who's going to tend to my kids if not you? It has to be me. Who's going to clean the house if not you? It has to be me. And then he's going to have the audacity to be like, I'm not getting any, like, feelings of attraction from her. I feel like she's not even attracted to me. So she's like, I am attracted to you. I'm just preoccupied right now mentally because I have to do so much. On top of that too, I had a kid. My body doesn't look like what it used to. My confidence is not where it used to be. And he's like, oh, but I like when you look like a mess and your hair is just whatever and you're doing all the household stuff. You know what would make me feel even better? You helping. You helping. No. You know what would be even better than you helping? Give her 1 weekend off to start. Every month. 1 weekend where she can just go to like a spa. She can pamper herself, get her nails and get her hair done or whatever. And she doesn't have to worry about being a mom. She doesn't have to worry about being a wife. That would help in 2 ways. Number one, it's going to help her grow her confidence. If she values that. Maybe she doesn't, but I have a feeling she would. It's going to help her build her confidence, and it's also going to give him some perspective to see what she actually has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then add your ass on top of all of that. So then she's like, he doesn't even woo me. Like, he teases me, he pokes fun at me, like not fun like in a nasty way, but just like the little banter stuff, right? So let me get this straight. This man doesn't go to work. This man doesn't help around the house. This man can't even romance his wife. He doesn't make her feel safe. What's the purpose of his presence here? What are you doing here? What does he contribute, truly, besides companionship? Okay. In their next session, Mike is gonna say, I'm kind of scared to spend my severance because it's so nice seeing all that money in my bank account. A man is really a man when he has so much money. You would think that would motivate him to go get a job and make more money. But no. And no, I'm not saying it's easy to just go out and get a job. I know that it is difficult, especially in this economy. It's just this man doesn't have his motivations in the right place. Even when he does have money, he doesn't save the money. So who's to put any faith in you really putting in your best and trying to find a new job? No. Anyways, he expects a pat on the back because he went out to a car dealership. He saw an Audi that he really wanted, but he resisted temptation and he did not purchase the car. He wants a pat on the back for that. How often are you going into a freaking dealership and being tempted to buy a car? How often does that happen? He's acting like this is a daily occurrence. He has to fight temptation on a daily basis. Let's talk about these unnecessary colognes you be buying. Let's talk about the excessive eating out. Let's talk about these luxury groceries that you don't have to buy. Once you can resist daily temptation, maybe I can give you a pat on the back. Maybe you can get some kind of credit. But you telling me, I didn't buy the Audi. Okay. She says she's tired of having to mind him as much as she does because it's exhausting. And I understand. Girl, the little bit we've gotten of Mike, we're exhausted too. I don't think anything is going to be resolved until he resolves his idea of masculinity. Yeah, once he has a better perspective on what masculinity is, maybe things can be on the up and ups. And also, he needs to stop being driven by ego. Oh my gosh, this man is so egotistical. Yeah. Once those things are addressed, maybe they can work on their relationship for real. Next is Debbie and Kelvin. Kelvin is irritated because he thought that therapy was just going to be them going into the session, addressing the issues, finding a resolve for the issues, and they leave fixed. You really thought everything would be resolved after one session? He feels like instead what happened was them harping on the issue over and over and over again. I know somebody in my personal life right now who's going through therapy and they're talking about how hard it is. And I told them it's going to continue to be hard. If you're already trying to give up after the first session, you're going to have such a hard time because we have to keep dredging up the old stuff. If we do not, they're going to manifest in different ways down the line. You have to keep bringing up that stuff and eventually we'll get to a point of resolve. And also, the thing that you think you're going in for oftentimes isn't even the root issue. So yeah, we got to find the root. We got to keep digging. So this man is talking to his sister and his mother. And I'm like, oh, this is where the coddling comes from.
I don't know if I want to do another one, if I'm being honest.
That's just a shame.
Yeah.
She has great qualities, don't get me wrong. I just want the best for you, someone that's understanding.
Just was saying stuff I'd never heard before, you know? I'm just too busy doing the business.
Does Debbie want you to excel, to do something for yourself? She has to bear with you.
Do you feel like Debbie's the one for Kelvin?
No.
Kelvin's mom and sister obviously do not like Debbie for him. I don't know if they dislike her as a person or they just dislike how she is in this relationship. But the point of the matter is they don't root for this couple. And I understand his perspective in the sense that like, I've done this amazing thing. And I feel as if you're not appreciating the work that I've put in and the work I have to continue to put in to make sure that this is successful moving forward. I understand that feeling. What he's missing is that simultaneously he's saying that their relationship is a priority of his. He's willing to sacrifice a lot of things, and he claims the relationship isn't one of those things, but he's already done that. He's already sacrificed the relationship. So she's like, yeah, maybe being in a relationship is a hindrance right now. He says that it's not. She says that it is, in the sense that this relationship is keeping her from her specific desire. So like marriage, kids, and all that stuff. So it's not that being in a relationship is a problem, but this relationship is not leading her to the place that she wants to be at. I think that it's okay to fall back. I do. The fact that he's keeping tabs on her alone will be enough for me to end the relationship. But if you are claiming to prioritize our relationship, I'm going to have to see that. And it seems like she's putting in more of the work. She said, I see him at work because I'm trying to, have more quality time with him. But if I don't do that, I don't see him. And he just apologizes by way of gifts that I don't appreciate because they don't come with change behavior. So what are we doing here? Clearly right now is just not the time. He feels like she should understand his position and she should just bunker down for however long it takes until he is able to find a balance. She's in her right to not want to stay for that. He's in his right to ask for that too. But she can also say, no, I've already given you 7 years. Last is Shay and Mons. We get some context on Shay and why she seeks this external validation, right? She says she's never really been in a long-term relationship, but the closest has been twice with these straight women who were bi-curious. Now, the reason why this gives some context is because she feels special when a straight woman approaches her because it's like, oh, I'm so intriguing to you that you're willing to like experiment with sexuality and stuff. Like that gives her a sense of importance, which is probably why she consistently steps out of the relationship. We also do find out that Mons struggles with codependency. This has been a thing that's present in all her relationships. And so between Shay seeking external validation and Mons looking for any validation, this is why they're in the situation they're in.
First gay relationship.
Yeah.
Why?
Not a challenge.
You like the idea of being the woman the girls has ever spoken to. Like, I clearly must be special.
Yeah.
So is that quite exciting?
It is. It gets toxic.
So this is a bit of a pattern.
I don't think it's ever right for Shay to cheat, in Mons' definition of cheating. I don't think it's ever okay. But I can understand how maybe like her self-esteem issues have led her to get to the point where she's like, that validation does something for me, right? This is the first, these are her words, not mine. This is her first like proper gay relationship. And so being with somebody who is gay, I guess that's not giving her the thrill that she's used to getting. At least if Mons was like bi-curious, then it's like, wow, I was so important to you that, you're going to experiment with something that you haven't experimented before because I'm just that special. And Mons is like, and you out here constantly looking to be told that you're special. Like, you're not special, sweetie. That's what she said. That's not what I'm saying. That's what she said. That's what she said. So I also agree with Shay on what she feels about Mons. Mons needs to be able to have her own interests. She cannot be attached to Shay's hip all the time. She needs her own friends. She needs her own, support system. And Mons is like, yeah, I mean, I grew up just like me and my mom. I didn't have a lot of friends. And even now they live like way out of town. So I think she said the closest city next to them is like an hour away, or maybe the closest big city is about an hour away. So she's even more isolated now. And unfortunately that means that she's all up under Shay. And Shay is like, nah, you're suffocating me. I cannot do this. So yeah, I do think that Shay needs to find something to do. You need to make some friends. You need to do some things. Take solo trips. If she's not comfortable making friends, like have interest, take some trips, do something, pick up some hobbies, whatever. And then when it comes to Mons, find a way, not Mons, Shay. Who have I been calling who? Anyways, for Shay, find some validation in other ways. Because seeking it in women who are not in your relationship is only detrimental to your relationship. I don't know how she thinks that that's going to help anything. What's wrong with you? Like that shouldn't have to be explained. It really shouldn't. But okay, we'll see what happens in the next episode. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.